Hey, it's Maggie. I am going to do a housing inspiration tour today with Tamriel Hot Housing. I'm going to go tour Hall of the Lunar Champion. So we're going to go visit first Bee's Knees, their magical coziness space. It's really cool. I love the colors and I'm going to go visit several Hall of the Lunar Champions for inspiration that I'm doing for my own builds. So I'm going to sign in through the Essential Housing Hub's guest house, or it's like guest books, so you know who comes to visit your house. But what I loved here was the use of these colors. I don't know which furnishings these are. I'll have to do some research. That's the moon gate for achievement in elsewhere. But I love the colors, the blue. It just really does look really magical and just really great. And they've blocked off the side rooms, if you will, the sides of the Hall of the Lunar Champion to direct you directly into the space they want you to go through the moon gate there. And then you go into the hall, and they've made it real clear. I love the way the moon gates are working together. I think that's awesome. And then the blue, the electric blue picture, the color, and we're going into the portal to the Moongrave Fane, which is the third wing of the Hall of the Lunar Champion that you can get, and this is the free house in Elsewhere through the Elsewhere expansion. In which you go through quests, and then there's a couple dungeons. This is related to a dungeon. I love how they built this, really just romantic and just really cozy spaces. This is the luxury vendor Elsewhere gazebo. They've used the red guard arcs to make the cozy little space that you hang out here. Just added a lot of items to make it look beautiful. They've used 558, so not quite all of them. I guess they're smart, maybe some space for the fourth wing. And if you go up here, this is new. They've got these, those are the smashable orbs that you can get at the luxury vendor. These are the wedding trellis, and then the wedding flowers, just beautiful, really fills in the space. And then you go up into here, and they've made this lovely romantic bedroom with the flowers and the gazebos, and then you've got your little bath space in there, and just really a lovely place to hang out there with the wedding lantern, wedding lights there hanging down, and so forth. So just a lovely space that you would want to hang out yourself. They made the little gazebos by putting in the side fences. And then adding those lovely blue, I'm not sure what furnishing that is, some luxury or achievement furnishing. And then more of the wedding, the Elsewhere gazebo, and then you can see they've made this cozy space with those orc beddings. Then you come over here, they've got a custom build of a Elsewhere. I think it's probably one of the new crafting writs I think you have to get, or master writs. That you can get that special furniture, and the little cozy eating area for two, and then just a really great use of those fountains and making everything really lush and beautiful, sticking in those corals with the lights down over into the pond there, and then adding that statue. So next we're going to go see, the next will be Aziz in the Box. This is a Depeche Sload. So this is a great use of essential housing tools, special effects. You know, you can line up furniture with essential housing tools, but you can also do things like add labels, point people to directions, you know, really fill in and tell a story with the essential housing tools. And I thought this was a great example of telling a story with the essential housing tools, so that you get an experience. So the story that they're telling is about a nightclub where Depeche Sload is going to be playing that evening. And I grew up in the 80s, so I love the references to Depeche Mode. I thought that was great. So they've got this, and it's basically a nightclub that you come into, and are going to be directed in to go see Depeche Sload. So I turned off the effects. It's lovely without it. Regardless, you know, you'd still see a nice space. But adding the special effects, you get the story and experience that you're doing. So they've added some load screens on the side, like they were ticket counters or movie posters. And then you come in, and this is all a space to get ready to go to the concert. So the arrows are directing you to the space, and you know the lights in there kind of already look like spotlights. Here's where the kitchen is, and a little side gatherings. But this isn't, you know, the big story they're telling. It's really in the Hall of the Colossus. You go out here, and we're going to go see Depeche Sload in concert, which I think is great. So they have a little sidebar here that they've made where you can get refreshments and your drinks. You know, I love the use of the display cabinets, covering things up and giving you your wares. You can always get t-shirts and the like at concerts, so I thought that was great. The Red Guard arcs for the bar, and then Depeche Sload there for the concert. So turning off the effects, you know, you won't totally get it, but it still looks cool. But with the effects on, you get this concert opinion, you know, feels like you're at a concert. So then I love how they used these side steps and filled in the space with a moon gate that you can go through, and then really took advantage of this view. I actually copied this and inspired this to use this in my own home. I really like how they did the different levels and showed off different parts of the space, and so I definitely was inspired by that to do it in my own home and copy some of that. So they've built these different spaces. Come over here, and you're over a pond that they created. I definitely was inspired for this one. Thank you for that. And then they've added in a cherry tree, one of the large ones, in there. And then going across the waterfall, they go over here, and you can see they build this down space. Now I love how they took the levels and used the platforms and the stairs to build the different. It looks like you're in like a big giant apartment building the way they do the balconies. I jumped down here because it saves some time, but they're using the elsewhere steps and the platforms to kind of build a bridge or a way to get down to the lower levels. I love all the different ways that people find to fill in the space and fill out this area. They use the gazebos. I love how they put them on the water. I think once I get one of these gazebos, I'm going to do it like that. I like how it shows and shimmers off the water, really beautiful. And then you can see where they added the boats there to where people would pull up and come in to visit the concert. And then they have another one of these elsewhere gazebos over here, showcasing the bottom of the waterfall. So really beautiful. Going to show off one of the cool things about Essential Housing Tools. You can do a portal of return, and this will just take you back up to the beginning of the house. It's an easy way to navigate in your house through different spaces. So our next house that we're going to go to see is one of the Guild, I think it's a Guild Hall. So we just saw Aziz in the box. So we're going to see George W's. It's the BGK Guild Hall. And I might do a video about different guild halls I find. I really like this one because they do a great job of using Essential Housing Tools to label where everything is, where the portals are, where different, the different crafting stations and the Munda stones are, etc. So I thought they did a really good job of showing how you can use Essential Housing Tools to actually create a like a menu. And then also they've already started doing spooky stuff, which I thought was cool to show. So let me sign into the guest journal here because it's cool to let people know you were there. get out of my fighting stance. I don't need to be fighting. But they've used a few effects to help, about 36. So they've got spider webs in here, and labeling showing what the different portals are. So here they're going to say, you know, future home. I love that. So once they get that fourth wing of the Hall of the Lunar Champion, they'll fill that out. And then you can see where they've labeled, that's the Hall for Munda Stones. For now, they have their target dummies in the Grand Cedric Villa, so they're going out there and they can just hop into the Grand Cedric Villa. It's a great way to let your newbie guild members know of where things are when you're on the PC. It doesn't work for the Xbox. I love seeing when people lay out their crafting stations and they look like this, but this is the really cool part in which they've got labels on it to help you know where to go. So I thought that was a great use of essential housing tools to guide people to where things are, especially when you're using that. So we're going to go into the other hall. This is for the Munda Stones into the Moongrave Fane. So they've got their Munda Stones out here and a few target dummies, and again they've used labels to help you know where things are. So I think it's a great way to help newbies know where they're going and help guide them through the new things on your part. So next we're going to go to Silver Tex. That was George W.'s BGK BKG, Guild Hall. Now we're going to go to Silver Tex Temple Village. This is going to be our last house for this tour. I've got a couple more inspiration tours as I found really cool items for Hall of the Lunar Champion. But this one I thought was great because they built effectively a village inside their space. They did a really good job of making the illusion of a little village square, you know, village houses, by using some of the different items like the walls and the Merkmeyer ramps and walkways. And then filled that in with home good items, etc. So I thought they did a really good job of showing how you can build something like a whole village and give it a theme like that. They do not, they have a few essential housing tool items, effects to just give it ambiance. So I love the way they use the pebbles to make these little side spaces, and then added the palm trees. They sunk a elsewhere cupboard into the wall to make it look like doors, and then use the you know, here they've used the pictures to make picture windows and added effects, so that's a cool way to do it. You turn the bolted paintings over that have a square on them. That's how it's making it look like a window. And then they've added, so it's a mixture of real and effects. They've you know, closed off some of the space and are leading you around, but it looks like the outside of a village. Like this would be the outside. They've done a great job of, you know, making that illusion feel real. So really like how they did that. Totally transformed the space. Doesn't look like anything. Love the use of the stained glass windows there with the special effects, and then using the Iliad gates to close off the portal there. So they lead you exactly where they want you to go. So we'll go into the Halls of Colossus to see what they've done here. Here they've made like an outdoor vendors because it's a village. So here's where you would go shopping. You have your tailor. They did a great job of filling in all the little details to make you feel like you're in a space like that. They've got the you know, a little outdoor alchemy area, your stables. I love this space. I really was drawn to, I like the little cemetery. I was really drawn to how they used the Merkmeyer ramps, put the elsewhere vines on here to do that. I'm going to actually do that in my spaces. Added the essential housing tool rainbow. I love that from the essential housing tool specials effects. They added a rainbow. And then they stuck right in here this Khajiit, I think it's the mercantile tent. So this is your little cozy getaway like your little Airbnb within their space. So I really love how they did this little getaway space and used their water fountain, or their water fountain again, the waterfall for something totally different. So I could totally see myself hanging out in here and just enjoying the ambiance in space. So I hope you've enjoyed this tour. I'll have more inspiration tours coming up. I've got two more videos of tours I do of houses that I enjoyed. So hopefully you'll tune in for those. I'll link those below. So happy housing, and I hope you've gotten some inspiration from the housing tours that I did today. Thanks, and happy housing. Cheers!